So we come into private schools and daycares and preschools, and we'll do PE classes in those schools taught by us. We bring all of the equipment, we write the curriculum.
Home-based, low investment, low fixed cost, reoccurring revenue. I mean, you're hitting all the Daly Coach hot buttons on this one, Dave. Welcome back to the Daly Coach YouTube channel. I have a very special guest with me today, a longtime friend. His name is Dave Pazgan. Dave, welcome to Kim Daly TV.
Hi, Kim. Good to see you. Thanks for inviting me.
In all the years we've known each other, did you ever think that I'd have my own TV channel?
Yeah, it's not a big surprise to me at all, quite honestly.
Why, thank you. Well, I'm very happy to introduce you to my followers today. So, Dave has a very long history in developing franchises very successfully. He has recently become the CEO and partner to a very young company that started out as, he was just telling me, a very strong entrepreneurial concept, a woman who was trying to franchise her business on her own, but without knowledge of how to build a strong franchise system, really wasn't getting anywhere very quickly. And Dave came in with his cape on the back, and now he's bringing Kidokinetics to market. So he is here to share the value proposition of an entrepreneurial concept that's strong and sound on its own, being partnered with a back-end engine of a strong franchisor who understands how to build a franchise system. So tell us a little bit about how you found Terry and Kidokinetics and what was going on in your company and why you saw an opportunity with this franchise called Kidokinetics.
Yeah, sure. So for about 11 years, I was running a franchise company called 101 Mobility that I had co-founded and built that company up to about $100 million of system-wide sales. And after we had sold that company to private equity, I ended up leaving a couple of years ago and just started looking for another franchise organization to either start up or get involved in, just something new and entrepreneurial. And so Frank Milner, who's the president and CEO of a company called Tutor Doctor, a tutoring franchise, he's a good friend of mine, and he introduced...
Well, a little company called the Tutor Doctor, Mr. Frank Milner.
Exactly.
Oh, great, Frank Milner.
Yep, that's right. So Frank had known Terry, the founder of Kidokinetics, for a few years. Their connection was they had met at IFA a couple of times, and they're actually both originally from South Africa. And so that was kind of how they got together and got to know each other. And so right after I had left 101, Frank kind of brought that to me and said, hey, I think there's something, this is one you ought to look at. Terry's great. She's got a really good business, but she's trying to do it all by herself. And there's a really strong fundamental business opportunity here for a really great program. So I met with Terry at IFA in 2019, right before or 2020, I mean, right before the pandemic. And we really hit it off. Like I immediately was really fascinated with her passion for the business, and she's very much a mission-driven organization. And it felt like a really good fit for me just fundamentally because, in part, my educational background was actually in health education. So I had gotten a degree in health ed and exercise science, and so I hadn't really worked in that field much in my career, and this was an opportunity to sort of get back to those original roots.
Busy building a $100 million company in mobility products.
Yeah, exactly. So
just throw that in, guys.
So this was an opportunity to sort of get back to my roots, and what she was really doing as a company, I thought was really important just for us as a society, because she's teaching really young kids, somewhere usually between 2 and 8, the fundamentals of exercise, fitness, and sports. And I think a lot of people are concerned these days about young people not getting enough opportunities to learn about these things. The programs in schools have been limited. Kids spend way too much time on screens these days. 1 out of 5 children is clinically obese these days. So, there's a lot of concern around that. And I felt like Kidokinetics was an opportunity to, bring something to market that not only is a good fundamental business, but actually does some real good in the world. So after that, we kind of hit it off immediately. And I spent some time with her in South Florida and reviewed her business. I went out and watched some classes. We looked at her financials. I called and talked to all of her franchises. She had 3 franchise locations at the time, and I spoke to all of them, and I got really comfortable with it. I also felt like, there's other participants in the marketplace. I happen to be good friends with one of our competitors, a company called Soccer Shots. The president and CEO of that company is a good friend of mine. And so Soccer Shots was an example to me of what Kidokinetics could look like at scale at about 150 locations around the country. So I felt confident that there was a big market opportunity out there and that Kidokinetics had the right bones that we could use to sort of build a really well organized and distributed franchise company throughout the country.
It's so funny, Dave. Do you know any other industry where competitors are friends?
Not really,
Like,
no.
this
I mean,
is the
it's
nature
pretty
of
new.
franchising. Everybody watching this video, if you're coming from corporate America, we hope you find it refreshing to hear that, Dave is friends with Justin and he's building Soccer Shots and now Dave's building Kiddo Kinetics. And yeah,
Right.
they do something different, but it's kind of the same market. And yet they can learn from each other and grow from each other. And it makes all of us stronger and better. Like, that's what franchising is.
It's really exciting. Yeah. I mean, when this opportunity came up, that was one of the first, conversations I had with Justin because I know him so well. And I said, I want you to be comfortable with this and not feel like this is a conflict because we, meet pretty regularly. And he said, no, we both come from an abundance mentality. There's a lot of market opportunity out there. We actually see ourselves as not being mutually exclusive. We're more complementary than anything. So he was completely open with it. And we actually have shared some best practices and some other data between the two of us. And actually recently also met the CEO of another competitor called Skyhawk Sports. And we have some time on the calendar now to just compare notes and talk a little bit about our businesses. So I think you're right. I think it's pretty rare, but it happens a lot in franchising where companies who are literally direct competitors as franchisors will, know each other, talk to each other, maybe share some best practices and try to the extent possible, work together as opposed to against each other.
It's the abundant mindset. I love it. Well said, Dave. So, what exactly is the offering of Kiddo Kinetics to the end user? We'll come back to the franchise in a minute.
Sure. So most of our business, about 90% of our revenue is generated with institutional accounts, primarily private schools, daycares, preschools, and Montessori schools. And what we do there is we go in and we offer basically two different kinds of programs. The first one would be where we teach PE classes, and that's paid for by the school. So a lot of these private schools, they don't have enough enrollment to justify having a full-time PE teacher. And it's difficult for them to staff a position that might only work 6 or 8 hours a week. And then the other teachers of the other subjects generally don't want to teach PE because they don't feel like they're properly trained for that or they're not really comfortable with it. And so that's where we come in. So we come into private schools and daycares and preschools, and we'll do, usually anywhere from 3 to 6 hours a week of PE classes in those schools taught by us. We bring all of the equipment, we write the curriculum. It's a very much plug and play solution for the school. And so it makes it really easy for them to lean on us for their PE, challenge that they have to solve. And right now, a lot of these schools are really struggling with staffing, as a lot of industries are. And so even more so today, we offer a really valuable service where they just, when it comes to the PE classes, they just don't have to worry about it. Kidokinetics just takes care of everything. And then the other offering that we have in these institutions is our enrichment program, which is usually parent paid. And so in those cases, then students whose parents sign them up will break out of the regular class and join a Kidokinetics class, usually one time a week for 30 or 40 minutes. And we put them through an enrichment program where we teach a different sport every week. So we're usually in there for 10 weeks at a time. And every week we come in and teach a different sport. So that's kind of fundamentally what we do. The other 10% of our revenue that's not institutional is, working with just individual families and their kids or private classes, or we do birthday parties and field days and other events along those lines.
So, from the franchisee candidate perspective, then, are you a gym teacher, Dave Pazgan? Is that what you're looking for?
No, not really. I mean, we're looking for people that are entrepreneurial minded and have good leadership skills. We want our owners to be running the business, not teaching classes. And that doesn't mean that an owner is not going to teach a class from time to time, but for the most part, we're really looking for people with good leadership skills. They can delegate effectively. They're going to build a team of coaches that are out teaching the classes, and good, some sales skills, right? Like we need them to get out and go talk to these institutions and meet with the administrators and start to build those relationships. And so relationship development skills, it's not a very hard sell. The people that we talk to generally know what we do and are interested in what we do. So it's really not, you don't get a lot of doors slammed in your face, quite honestly. It's really a pretty easy sell, but it does take some, diligence and follow up to make sure these accounts kind of come through.
Yeah, this is the example of a business that the Daily Coach would call a home-based, low investment, low fixed cost business. So, if you've seen other videos on my channel about home-based businesses, you know that home-based doesn't mean you're working from home necessarily. It means I don't have to take on the overhead of a location because I'm mobile. I'm going out and doing business where my customers are. You're bringing the physical education into the school. Therefore, you don't need the big fixed expense with the high rent, right? And all that goes into that. And that's what enables this to be a low investment and to have those low fixed costs. So it's awesome. And then on the flip side of that, Dave, it comes more with what I would call like unlimited earning potential, right? Because you can keep growing and growing and growing to the number of schools and facilities in your area versus if you had that set location where you have to wait for people to come to you and you
Correct.
sort of cap out, right? Because you only are going to pull from about a 3 to 5 mile radius around your store, depending on what your offering is, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I think it's really easy to understand how the business scales. We generate revenue at these accounts, and so then it's just a matter of taking, how much revenue do you want to generate in a year? Divide that by the average, annual revenue we get at a school or a daycare, and that's how many accounts that you need. And these are very strong recurring revenue opportunities. So once we start working with a school, we almost never lose the school. Like we keep working with them year after year after year. And of course, they have new kids coming in every year. So we have a new, group of kids that we work with every semester and every year. And like Terry, the founder in South Florida, when she started there, she's got schools that she's worked with now for 18, 19 years. And, these are accounts that we developed a long time ago. So that's how it's kind of easy to scale. You just go out and find these accounts and work with them and get a program set up. And you'll typically run those programs all year round and year after year.
Home-based, low investment, low fixed cost, reoccurring revenue. I mean, you're hitting all the Daily Coach hot buttons on this one, Dave. Okay, so let's wrap this up, but let's go back to, I think, just the point I want to stress really, and most importantly, is your extensive background and understanding of franchising and working with franchisees and why you decided to make this your next venture.
Sure. So it felt to me like a really great market opportunity, a mission-driven organization that I felt like I wanted to be a part of and could really add some value. And it was like a bit of a blank slate. Like there was a lot of opportunity to develop systems and support and infrastructure and kind of do it right from the start. And so over the last year and a half that I've been working with Terry, the founder, that's been the bulk of the time that we've spent is we built an enterprise system that our franchises now use to run their businesses day to day. We built out extensive training and support programs. We just completed a very detailed sales and marketing playbook and a launch plan. We've hired a couple of people in our home office to support franchises in onboarding and field support as they get out in the marketplace and start growing their businesses. And so it was really a good opportunity to not have to deal with a lot of legacy problems. Like they just didn't really have that. So we could start from scratch, build something fresh and new. And that took some time and some resources, but we're really at the point now where all of that's in place. And so now we're really looking to scale the business pretty quickly. And so we've gone from 5 franchise territories when I met Terry to we have 18 right now. We're closing another deal on Monday. So we'll probably have 25 or so territories awarded by the end of this year.
Congratulations. And so it wasn't because you just wanted to like kick Justin's butt.
Well, there's definitely that. Like people that have asked about it, I'm like, I'm coming for soccer shots, and we're sprinting right now. Like we are literally sprinting to try to catch them. So
I
they have
love
a
it.
15
I love it. So see, guys, we love each other in franchising. We learn from each other, but we're all still competitors.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's amazing, Dave. You're so great. I'm so thankful that you were my guest today. For those of you who are inspired or interested to learn more about the Kidokinetics franchise opportunity, you know that I want to be your daily coach. What we're going to do is I'm going to have you leave a comment below, or you can reach directly out to me via the email on the screen and give me the opportunity to pre-qualify you, to prepare you to meet Dave's team so that we can make sure the territories are available and that you have the skill set that he's going to be looking for in order to award the opportunity to you. Once we've done all of that and it all is a good fit, then we'll send you over to the Kidokinetics team so you can begin your exploration. Dave, thanks for being my special guest today on Kim Daly TV.
Yeah, thanks so much. And just for benefit of your listeners, Kim is the best in the business. There's nobody like her out there. And if you choose to work with her, you're in really good hands. And so, you should feel confident with the advice that she gives you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for saying that. I didn't pay him to say that, guys. Thank you so much. Well, until next time, thank you for listening. And until next time, I am Kim Daly, and I want to be your daily coach.